What's good, YouTube? Welcome to the premiere deck profile episode here on the Game Nights. You have Titan here to present to you his favorite deck of all time. I've played so many iterations of this deck throughout the years, and I'm showing you guys today my Dark Magician deck profile. I am super excited to show you guys this deck. It has never been better ever since the release of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and I'm super excited to show you guys what I'm playing in this deck. I really hope that you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure that you share the video as we appreciate it all here at the Game Nights. Make sure that you hit that notification bell just to make sure that you are always notified when there is a new video uploaded. We got 3 other members here, so there are going to be lots of deck profiles coming at you guys. And also, make sure that you let us know in the comments what other deck profiles you want to see from us in the future. And also let me know, what's your favorite card of this deck profile? My personal favorite, definitely Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. That thing is a beast, guys. I am super excited. I cannot wait. I'm not going to waste any more of your time, though. Let's get right on into it. Alrighty, guys. So we're going to start off with the monster lineup. Of course, we're going to start with the most important monster in the deck. Of course, he is the heart and soul of the deck. He is the Dark Magician himself. And then we are also playing the one Dark Magician Girl. This synergizes beautifully with the Dark Magicians that is in the extra deck. When it's destroyed, it allows me to special both Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. So she comes in handy. Alright, so then for our next 3 of, we play 3 Magician's Rod. He is the best normal summon of the deck, absolutely. He grabs you a Dark Magician spell or trap card, so he can grab your Dark Magical Circle and your Eternal Soul. He can also grab you your Secrets, which is your fusion spell, to be able to go into the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Also, another effect that is actually very handy is if there is a spell and trap that is activated during your opponent's turn, you can tribute a spellcaster that is on your field, and you can actually add him back to your hand. So very handy effect when you've already used him and you've used him for a Link summon. And then for our next 3 of, we play the Magician's Souls. Alrighty, guys, I know this card is very expensive, but this card, if you have access to it, you absolutely need to play it in this deck. This thing is absolutely insane. This card just does everything. This card on summon, so to summon it, all you have to do is you send a level 6 or lower spellcaster from your deck to the grave, and then you can choose to either special the Souls or the Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl. So depending on whichever one you have. Most of the time you're gonna want to summon the Magician Souls because he is an effect monster and he helps to make Verte. Also, he does have a very handy effect if you happen to draw into some spells and traps that maybe aren't ideal. You can use its effect to ditch up to 2 of them and draw that many cards. So that is also very handy as well. Then, for our next cards that I play, I actually don't play the Spellbook engine. I play the Keeper of Dragon Magic engine. So I'm only playing 2 in this build. I had to cut 1 just for some space. So I'm just playing 2, and it actually has worked out pretty good for me. What this card does, actually, so he really helps in making Dragoon. On his normal or special summon, I believe, yes, you can discard 1 card and you can add Polymerization from your deck to your hand. So he grabs you your Poly. And also another effect that is really handy that basically makes him a 1-card Dragoon, which is insane, guys. You can literally just reveal any one of your fusions, like your Dragoon or your Dark Magicians, and then you can special the fusion material face down defense mode. So you basically fusion summon your Dark Magician, and then you can use your Polymerization with him and the Dark Magician, as Game States knows that it is Dark Magician face down, and you can fuse into your Dragoon. So then for my next 2 of, I play Phantasme, 2 Phantasme. This card is great. This card kind of fell out a little bit of favor when they put Master Rule 5 into effect, but this card I think is still fantastic. A lot of people are still playing Links. It is still one of the main summoning mechanics that's used today. So this card is just a instant, like, free extra, like, it helps you know, refresh your hand if you happen to have a card or two that you're not liking too much. You can just, or at least one of them anyways, you can just put it to the bottom of your deck after you draw your 2. After he is special summoned from your opponent, special summoning a Link monster. And he also has a very neat negation effect. If your opponent targets a monster on your field, you can actually discard a card to negate and destroy. So that is also another very handy effect. For my next cards, just some generic hand traps. I'm just going to play 2 Ash. Again, I probably would play this at 3, but I just had to cut the third one just for some space. I wanted to be able to fit in the Phantasme and, of course, Dark Magician Girl. And I also had to make room for the Red Eyes Black Dragon, which you will see here in a second, to be able to play Red Eyes Fusion. So, of course, Ash is the best generic hand trap right now. It deals with a lot of things. Not a whole explanation on what Ash does and what it does for the deck. All right, next monster, we're going to play 2 Apprentice Illusion Magician. I have seen some builds cut this down to 1. However, I really still like this at 2. Actually, some builds now are playing back to 3, just because it's a free normal summon. So I actually, again, I cut it down to 2 because sometimes I like to use it as a hand trap, and I usually will still be able to get 2 monsters on board even before using this card, even though this card does help, because normally my 2 monsters will be Rod and Souls, so I don't have to worry about this one as much. I can use her more as like a hand trap, or in case I need to just search Dark Magician just to be able to make a fusion summon. She also has the ability to stack 2,000 attack on top of any dark spellcaster monster that does battle, so that is really nice too. So it actually works with Dragoon, so if anybody tries to run over Dragoon, you just use Apprentice Illusion. Of course, our last monster is going to be the Red Eyes Black Dragon himself. All right, so off to the spell cards, guys. So for our first 3 of spell here, we have Dark Magical Circle. Of course, this has been pretty standard in most Dark Magician builds for a while now. This card is absolutely fantastic. All right, for the next 3 of, we play Soul Servant. This card is absolutely bonkers. This card was one of the new cards that was brought out in Legendary Duelists Magical Hero set. This card lets me basically place 1 card that lists Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl on the top of the deck, guys. So it lets me stack my deck, which is, I mean, if I have the ability to know what I'm going to draw next, going into my next turn after my opponent, or just even being able to get access to other cards in the deck that say Dark Magical Circle can't grab, this card is great. I actually use this card a lot to stack Magician's Rod on top of the deck, as Magician's Rod has Dark Magician, of course, in its text, so it lets me stack it. All right, so the next, for a little bit of draw power, we play 2 Allure of Darkness. Again, just because the Spellbook engine is no longer in the deck, I had to find an alternative for my draw power. Allure of Darkness is great, just lets me draw 2 cards and then banish Star Monster. We all know what this card does, so I won't go over that too much. Then for my next cards, I play 2 Forbidden Chalice. So this card is really good. If I ever have to go up against a Zexal, this is basically one of the outs to it. Same with Impermanence, of course, as well, but this card is really nice as well. If I can play more cards that allow me to be able to stop what my opponent is doing, or to be able to even bait out a negation, then I'm going to want to do that. So Chalice is a great card. It's very versatile. You can just place it face down going first, or you can just drop it just going second. So again, very versatile. These were actually one of the things I decided to play instead of, like, say, the 3rd Ash, or say a 3rd Apprentice Illusion or Phantasme. So I could fit in things like this. So this has actually worked out really well for me. Alright, so then we still play the 1 Illusion Magic. There are going to be times when you need Dark Magician in your hand. This is the best way to do it. You basically just tribute a spellcaster, and then you're able to add up to 2 copies of Dark Magician from the deck or graveyard to your hand. So pretty neat, actually, to grab it from the graveyard sometimes. Then we're going to play the 1 Secrets of Dark Magic. This is one of the fusion spells to be able to go into your Dragoon, and of course your Dark Magicians as well. So this card is really nice to be able to do that, and it's also a quick play, so you can actually do it on your opponent's turn too. So if you set it, you can actually make the Dragoon on the opponent's turn, which, why wouldn't you want to do that? So one of that. So then for my next spell card, we play the Magicalized Fusion. So this card is, again, just another way to get into Dragoon. Of course, we play the Red Eyes Fusion, of course, to be able to dump off of, or send to the graveyard off of Verte Anaconda. This basically makes your Dragoon super easily. This card probably should get banned, honestly, that or Verte. It's too easy to make Dragoon with this card. Definitely need to play, you only need to play one copy. If you play too many copies, I just feel like, it just can kind of brick at times, especially when you can only use one, and you also can't normal or special the turn that you use it. So there's no need to play more than one. All right, and then of course for our last spell, Polymerization. No explanation on what this does. All right, so now going into the trap card lineup. So I am playing 2 Eternal Soul. So this is one of Dark Magician's greatest weapons, sometimes can be also its greatest downfall. So then for my next 2 up, just to run some negation, I run 2 Solemn Strike. Not a whole lot of explanation needed on what this card does. All right, and then I also play 3 Infinite Impermanence. This card is also fantastic in the deck. I love this card. Definitely just a buffed up Effect Veiler that can also be set and negate a column. This card is easily the best hand trap in the game, I think, personally. It can't be called by Graved. It's just so versatile. A lot of decks, they just can't really deal with it. So just being able to negate and be just use it as a hand trap too, it's fantastic. You have to play 3 of this card in any type of control type deck. You definitely want to be playing 3 of this card. So yeah, no, not really much more explanation needed why you're going to be playing 3 of these. And then for the last card that I play in the main deck is I play 1 Destined Rivals. This is a new card that came in the 2020 Megatins. So this card, basically, if I control a Blue Eyes or Dark Magician, of course I'm only going to be controlling Dark Magician, I negate the effects of all face-up monsters that my opponent currently controls. So keep that in mind, guys. It's only currently. It's not just, not like everything during that turn. It's just what's currently face-up. So this card's really nice, too. I used to play Skill Drain. I felt like this was just a little bit better, whereas, it just affects my opponent, it doesn't affect me, so I threw this in instead of playing the Skill Drain, as I was playing that in my earlier builds. But yeah, that will round out the main deck. Alright, so now going to the extra deck. We're going to be playing 2 Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This card is broken, guys. I cannot explain to you how crazy this card is. It has so many things built into one card. This card, basically, to make him, you just need a Dark Magician plus Red Eyes or another Dragon Effect monster, hence why you play Keeper, Dragon Magic, and Phantasma. You can use those cards, and Polymerization or Secrets of Dark Magic, or any of your fusion spells, really, except for Red Eyes Fusion, to be able to get into this guy. He also has the ability to pop cards, so destroy cards on the field based on the normal fusion materials that you used. So if you used him using Red Eyes Fusion, that's 2 normal monsters. Now on each turn, you can target up to 2 cards to destroy. That is a absolutely crazy effect that it gets to destroy 2 cards. Hardly ever actually use that effect, doesn't come up that much. But yeah, definitely a very, very good effect, especially going second. And then also, one of its main things is that it is a Omni Negate. So if my opponent plays any card or effect, I can discard 1 card and then negate and destroy, which is very important. A lot of cards in this format right now are just negating and no destruction. It is very, very useful to get that monster off the board, or just card in general off the board, so that they can't extend with it. Like, say if it's a monster card, they can't extend with it with their link plays. So that's really important. And then also on top of that, this card cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it cannot be targeted as well. Also on top of the negate, after it negates, it also gains 1,000 when you do that negate. So it automatically becomes 4,000. And to be honest with you guys, a lot of decks cannot deal with a 4,000 attack monster that can't be destroyed by card effects and cannot be targeted. So a lot of the times you summon this guy and you negate once, and you have, like, say, any back row back there to protect him, like Impermanence or Strike, you're most likely going to be winning that game. So this card is absolutely bonkers, guys. I love this thing. Then we play the Dark Magicians. This card is still really good. It basically is just Dark Magician plus Dark Magician Girl, or just one other spellcaster monster. So then I also play Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. I don't make this card that often. It doesn't come up that much. You obviously want to make Dragoon more than this card, but this card is nice just because you can use there's kind of like a lock you can do with this card. He does count as Dark Magician on the field and in the graveyard, so if you have Eternal Soul, you can keep specialing him back. And also it lets you trigger your Dark Magical Circle as he still counts as Dark Magician, which pretty nice. And then, yeah, so basically when this card's on the field, your opponent cannot, your back row, basically your spells and traps cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So that lets you protect your circle and your Eternal Soul. So they can't just try to pop the soul to get rid of your back row. And even if they attempt it, you just, you chain Eternal Soul, bring him back, and then it keeps protecting your Eternal Soul from getting destroyed. So this card it's handy sometimes. Like I said, it doesn't come up very often, but still a good card to have in the extra. Alright, and then off to our Link monsters. I play one Imduk, the World Chalice Dragon. So this card is kind of nice. He's basically just in here just to link away the Dark Magician. And it also is a dragon, which is nice. So if I happen to have, or if I'm able to make Dark Magician, say just like returning him from Eternal Soul, then basically I can just use that and this guy to fuse to make it into Dragoon. So that's why this card is really handy. And then another card that I use to be able to link away the Dark Magician is Link Spider. Again, just link away the Dark Magician to be able to continue making my plays. He is an effect monster, so that is important when you're trying to make Verte, because Verte only takes 2 effect. If you want to turn that Dark Magician into an effect monster, you do that via the Link Spider. Then, obviously, one of the main things that you need to play right now, Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda. This card is crazy. Honestly, probably gonna die for Dragoon Sins. Let's be real here. All right, so then we play IP Masquerena. This card is really good. I actually play this in combination with my Nightmare Unicorn. So basically, if I happen to just have 2 non-link monsters, I go into the IP. If I use Eternal Soul to be able to return any one of my materials, or sorry, just my Dark Magician, then basically I can use Dark Magician and IP to turn it into the Nightmare Unicorn, and then Nightmare Unicorn can, of course, use its discard to shuffle away any card on the field. So that is really handy. And it's also nice that Unicorn becomes, it can't be destroyed by card effects because it was linked with IP Masquerena during the opponent's turn, which is really nice. So that's why these cards are really good. And then I play 1 copy of Selene, Queen of the Master Magicians. This card is really good, guys. Most of the time, I'm going to be specialing one of my Magician's Rods or Magician's Soul or Apprentice or any effect monster, just because it allows me to turbo into one of the cards coming up here. I'll show you why you play this one. The next card I play in the deck is I play Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This card's really nice. It has a nice little effect to when it is used, or when you use a level 7 monster to make this card, it actually makes it so that your opponent cannot destroy it. And then also, another nice thing that this thing does is when it attacks, you can do one of 3 things, when it destroys a monster, you can do one of 3 things. You can either make this card gain 1500 attack, you can also make a second attack in a row, or you can banish 1 card on the field. So all 3 effects, really good effects. So again, he just gets that extra little effect because you use a level 7 monster to make him, which obviously Dark Magician, Phantasme, things like that are going to be a high enough level to go into this thing to be able to get that effect. So that's really nice. Alright, so then, like I said, guys, the reason why I play the Selene is to be able to go into Access Code Talker. So that this Selene is going to be one of the best ways to go into this card. This card is insane, by the way. Basically, this card, when it is made, it instantly gains attack times 1,000 based on the link rating of the monster that you used for its summon. So if you use the Selene, you're going to gain 3,000 attack. Instantly becomes 5,300 attack. Also keep in mind, guys, none of the effects that Access Code Talker has, the opponent can respond to. So that is absolutely insane. And then its other effect, which is its craziest effect, is you can banish 1 link monster from your graveyard to be able to target one card on the field to destroy it. So because you can't respond to that, you're not going to be able to do anything when it tries to do that. What's absolutely crazy about this card is that effect is not once per turn. So if you have different attributes, say you have, like say Earth from Link Spider, Predaplant Vert Anaconda, Dark, and then Saline as a light, you can literally pop 3 cards in one turn and they cannot respond to any of it. So this card is absolutely insane. Definitely play it with the Saline. Excellent little combo there. Yeah, just great card. Nothing much more to say about that. All right, so then to round off my extra deck, I play 3 Xyz monsters. The first Xyz monsters is going to be the Ebon Illusion Magician. I still play this card. I'm starting to see this card get cut in some of these like newer modern Dark Magician builds. It's not really as needed. However, I have yet to play a Dark Magician deck without this card. I think this card, ever since it came out, has been really good. I love its effect to be able to get an additional banish. So if you happen to have Dark Magical Circle, you can, and 2 Dark Magicians, you can just make him. You can detach 1 material, and then you can special summon a Dark Magician from your hand or deck. And then of course you will get the ability to banish because you have the circle. And then after that, when you go into your battle phase and your Dark Magician declares an attack, you can actually activate its secondary effect to target another monster to banish. So you actually get 2 banishes using this thing and Dark Magical Circle. So just because of that neat little interaction, I keep this card in the deck and it looks beautiful. I love the artwork on this card. Alright, so then for my next Xyz, I play number 11 Big Eye. This card is very useful, as this card is, it lets me, once per turn, I can detach an Xyz material, and then I can target 1 monster on my opponent, fly to the field, and take control of it. So this basically, some decks you're starting to see nowadays, or at least in my meta, we have Zodiacs, and they are using the Infinite Track Fortress Megaclops, and there's not a lot of ways to get around that card. That card can be a problem sometimes, so this is just like another way I can kind of deal with that, as well as Ebon Illusion. That's also why I play some XYZs, just because it deals with that. That card is insane, honestly. But yeah, Big Eye is very useful, just lets me steal the monster. Yeah, so great rank 7. And then for my last rank 7, I have Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. So this card, honestly, is just in here just because now that I have the Red Eyes Black Dragon in the deck, I can actually use its secondary effect. So basically what this card does is it cannot be destroyed by card effects while it has Xyz material. And then while this card has Xyz material, each time your opponent activates a card or effect, you inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent immediately after it resolves. So anytime your opponent tries to do an effect, so say you're going against a combo deck and you make Flare Metal, yeah, they're going to be paying a lot of life points to play their turns. So this card is really good. Another thing you can do, just if you've already swung in for a decent amount of damage, you can just Xyz into this main phase 2, and then when they go, they're just basically just paying to play the game. And then the secondary effect, which now you can actually use since you're playing Red Eyes Black Dragon, is you can actually detach a material. You can target 1 Red Eyes monster in the graveyard and special summon it. So just a neat little effect. You can just special the Red Eyes, so at least you can use it. It does come up sometimes, but nice little effect. Alrighty guys, so that is it for the main deck and the extra deck.